What if the wedding ring on his finger means nothing when a deeper, unstoppable force wakes up inside him? A primal pull no vow can silence. Most people hear from the very beginning, if a man is already taken, married, or otherwise committed, all you can do is take a step back, accept his circumstances, and hope that one day he decides differently. Sounds reasonable, even noble. Yet this advice overlooks a powerful, often uncomfortable truth about human nature. Men don't always choose partners based on loyalty or logic. They decide based on feeling, the inner awakening, the sense of being alive and being seen. This is not about manipulation, games, or stealing someone's partner. It is about understanding the psychology of male longing and how attraction works far beneath words and promises. An official promise does not erase attraction. A man who after a long time feels seen, touched, and inspired again begins to question his life. This change does not come from begging or persuading, but from presence, mystery, and confidence. Qualities that reach into the subconscious and awaken desire. The first mistake many women make: they try to convince him. They explain their worth, show devotion or loyalty, hoping he will recognize it someday. But that has the opposite effect. Persuasion does not spark desire. Pressure does not change hearts. Under pressure, a man clings to what he already has, even if it no longer fulfills him. Ask yourself, if someone tries too hard to sell you an idea, a product, or a relationship, do you feel drawn or rather repelled? Attraction doesn't grow under pressure, but in freedom, curiosity, and space. Here lies the paradox. When you stop convincing him, curiosity arises. He gets space to feel and choose for himself. And only free decisions truly last. A woman who does not prove her worth with words forces him to feel it without words. It is exactly in that silence that his thoughts begin to return to her. This brings us to the power of silence. Many women panic when a man withdraws. They flood him with messages and attention. But psychologically, silence often carries more weight than words. It creates space, tension, and reflection. It forces him to notice the absence of your energy, something he may have taken for granted. When you are no longer constantly present, he notices. He wonders where your attention has gone. And that very question is the seed of desire. For desire doesn't live in what is always available, but in what is rare, unpredictable, and meaningful. Silence is not punishment or a game, but balance. It shows that your life has its own rhythm, that your time carries weight. A woman who doesn't immediately fill every gap radiates confidence. She shows independence. She makes it clear her world doesn't revolve only around him. That is magnetic. Sometimes the strongest way to draw a man closer is to step back. For silence creates mystery. Mystery creates desire. The woman who can remain silent at the right moment is often the one who speaks the loudest in his mind. Mystery is one of the strongest currents of attraction. Men don't always choose the woman who makes the most sense on paper. They choose the woman who stirs a feeling in them they cannot explain. A tension that bypasses logic. Mystery is the catalyst for that. If you don't reveal everything too quickly, you leave room for fantasy, longing, and curiosity. Predictability kills the spark, but depth, layers, and riddles keep him captivated. It's not about playing a role. It's about protecting your essence and letting him earn deeper access step by step. Attraction doesn't arise in the comfort of the completely known, but in the fire of curiosity, in the spaces that make him lean forward and pay attention. When you preserve your individuality, he realizes that your life is not a script written solely for his pleasure. It is a living, breathing story in which he must first earn his place. That alone already exerts a strong attraction. Quick subscribe to my YouTube channel SYC Soul if this hits deep. What if your constant texting and availability is secretly killing his chase, turning you into just background noise he ignores? Many women have learned that you win a man by constant availability, canceling plans, rescheduling appointments, replying immediately, always being ready. At first glance, this looks like loyalty. In truth, however, it erases exactly the tension that fuels attraction. When a man senses you are always reachable, he stops trying. There is no urgency, no risk, no fire anymore. Desire grows where something feels uncertain, where it could be lost. Think of a rare flower that blooms only once a year. People travel far to see it because it is rare and special. If it bloomed every day, everywhere, no one would value it. So it is with your attention. If it is always immediately available, it becomes background noise. Rarity gives your presence its power. Too much availability also sends a dangerous signal that your world revolves around him. Nothing extinguishes attraction faster than this imbalance. A man doesn't long for what he already believes he possesses, but for what shines, is independent, and stays alive without him. That is what gives your closeness weight. Here lies the paradox. The more you try to prove your devotion through constant presence, the less valuable your closeness seems. You become predictable, like a song on repeat. But when silence enters, when you step back, your presence suddenly feels electrifying again. Your silence is the pause that gives your melody meaning. Protect your time. Protect your attention. Let him feel when you are not there, because it is precisely in that gap that he begins to desire you again. Not out of manipulation, but because desire is born from scarcity, not abundance. When you embody these qualities, presence without pressure, silence with dignity, mystery without mask, and independence without apology, something profound happens. You begin to choose yourself. You stop shaping your life around whether he notices you, whether he chooses you, whether he stays. You radiate an energy that says, I am whole. You can be part of my life, but not its center. This energy is magnetic. That is the beginning of self-confidence. Self-confidence is not loud or aggressive, but a quiet, grounded force. The certainty of your worth. Your worth does not depend on his attention or hesitation. When you move from this stance, you become unforgettable. Not because you desperately want to, but because confidence, mystery, and independence awakens something in him that words cannot reach. A man in the presence of a confident woman feels elevated. He feels more alive, more masculine, more powerful. He longs not only for her attention, but for the part of himself that awakens at her side. That is why confidence is so powerful. It links you in his eyes with his best version, not with his smallest fears. Confidence also sets boundaries entirely without words. It communicates. I don't chase. I don't beg. If you want me, come to me. Such boundaries do not scare men away. They attract them. They separate the serious from the superficial, the invested from the players. It's like gravity. If your center is strong, others orbit around you. They adjust to your energy. Respect your time. Consider your needs. If your center is weak, you orbit around them. You bend, adapt, hope to be chosen. And that is exactly what makes you less attractive. Yo, if this is hit and drop alike. What if making him fear losing you forever is the exact spark that forces him to step up or vanish like he never mattered? Many women believe confidence is something you put on to please a man. In reality, it's the opposite. Confidence grows once you stop living for his validation and start living for your own joy. It's not about finding the right words or mastering the perfect pause. It's about building a life so rich and fulfilling that any man who wants to be part of it must bring his best. This energy cannot be faked. It arises when your own growth, passions, and dreams are non-negotiable. Confidence also changes how you handle uncertainty. When he withdraws, insecurity reacts with chasing, demands, or self-doubt. Confidence, on the other hand, stays calm, breathes, and keeps living. That signals you are not dependent on his validation. not defined by his distance. And that is exactly what makes you even more attractive, because a man feels the difference between a woman who needs him to choose her and a woman who has already chosen herself. The first seems like a burden, the second like a force that attracts him. And here lies the decisive dynamic, making him feel that he could lose you. As long as he believes that you will always be there forgiving, waiting, responding, he has no reason to fight for you. But when you stop waiting, reclaim your energy, and move on with your life with or without him, something primal awakens in him. We do not value what we take for granted. We value what we fear losing. What if I lose her forever? This question echoes in his mind, and it awakens not only desire, but also regret. Regret is a force that cuts deeper than attraction itself. Making him feel that he could lose you is not a punishment or a game. It is reality. You are not a guarantee. You are not an infinite resource. You are rare, and rarity demands respect. Picture it like a precious gemstone. If it lies unnoticed on the sidewalk, anyone can pick it up and throw it away. But if it is protected, displayed with admiration, and made difficult to reach, people fight for the chance to touch it. You are this gemstone. If you give yourself too quickly to someone hesitant, he will not recognize your value. But when you step back, he feels the loss even before it happens. That feeling is unforgettable. Therefore, let him feel it. Do not run immediately to soothe his insecurities. Do not flood every silence with reassurance. Allow him to sit in this tension and the possibility of losing you. For it is exactly in this tension that decisions are made. Either he clearly steps forward, or he shows that he never deserved you. This is how confidence and rarity meet. This is how you transform from an option into the choice. This is how an environment is created in which he either rises to your level or disappears. Another key is realizing that the world does not revolve around whether one single man chooses you or not. It revolves around your own growth, your passions, your friendships, and your future. When you invest in these areas, your energy becomes rich and multi-layered. You are not an empty canvas that needs to be painted. You are a living masterpiece in motion. This is where true attraction lies. Not in putting on confidence, but in the lived reality of independence. A man feels the difference between a woman who has built a fulfilling life and a woman who is waiting to be rescued from hers. The first signals, I can stand alone, but I invite you. The second signals, I need you to fill my emptiness. The first is irresistible. The second is exhausting. Comment below if you're ready to become that rare gem. Subscribe for more. What if your independence scares weak men away, but pulls the right one in like a magnet he can't resist? This independence also deepens your mystery. The less predictable your daily life, your reactions, and your world are, the stronger his curiosity grows. He wants to know what you are doing, who you are with, what you are creating. This curiosity fuels attraction because it breaks his routines. Your mystery does not consist of withholding affection or pretending to be busy. It consists of truly being busy with your life, with real passions, real friendships, real goals. When he writes to you, you are not sitting with your phone waiting. You are outside building your world. This energy is magnetic because it is real. This is how confidence, mystery, and rarity weave together into one fabric. They are not tricks, but the natural expression of a woman who knows her worth, protects her time, and builds a rich life. True desire is rooted in this. Not the superficial kind born of manipulation, but the deep kind born of respect, fascination, and emotional pull. That is why the woman who chooses herself is unforgettable. Men may be drawn to beauty, passion, or novelty, but the woman they never forget is the one who never forgets her own worth. She does not stand in the shadows of indecision. She steps forward, not as a plea, but as a force of nature. Here the paradox unfolds. In the moment you no longer need him to choose you, he feels the strongest urge to do exactly that. For men are not drawn to emptiness, but to radiance, to a woman who shines in her own light, who stands firm in her energy, and who does not allow herself to be defined by whether he stays or not. With your growing confidence also grows your power to shape the dynamics of every relationship. You no longer settle for half-hearted love. You no longer beg for scraps of attention. You become the chooser, not the chosen. This transformation changes everything. Not only how men respond to you, but also how you respond to yourself. You stop asking, "Will he choose me?" and start asking, "Does this situation nourish me?" This one question shifts you from passive waiting to active creation. The next chapter is to anchor this confidence in your everyday life, in actions, decisions, boundaries, and ways of living that make your value tangible. For it is one thing to understand the idea and another to live it. Confidence is not a pose, but a practice. It is the way you live every day that quietly communicates your worth. When you stop exhausting yourself and being constantly available, a man may become restless. He tests boundaries or shows frustration. This is normal. Perhaps he has been used for years to women sacrificing themselves for him. When you do not, you force him. Either he grows or he leaves. Your job is not to smooth every wave immediately. Let the discomfort work. This does not mean being cold or cruel. It means holding your position with empathy and clarity. Exactly. This discomfort is the trigger that forces him to evolve. Without it, he remains stuck forever. Smash that bell if you're done waiting, more fire coming. What if your old habits of chasing and over-explaining are quietly pushing him away forever? While one simple pause pulls him back harder than ever, the next step is to embody your confidence in your communication. Speak clearly and directly about your needs without drama. Use I statements. Frame boundaries as facts, not threats. Instead of saying, "If you don't call me back, I'll never see you again," you say, "Communication is important to me. If that's not for you, that's okay, but then it doesn't work for me." This clarity is powerful and calm. It shows that you respect yourself enough to state your standards. Men may resist at first, but they deeply respect clear boundaries. Remember, attraction and respect must coexist. Some build attraction through mystery, but lose respect because they tolerate bad behavior. Others demand respect, but forget to nurture attraction. The power lies in balance. Confidence, independence, and mystery stoke desire. Boundaries, standards, and self-respect preserve it. If you notice yourself falling into old patterns, chasing, over-explaining, diminishing yourself, pause, breathe, ask yourself, "If I knew my worth without a doubt, what would I do now?" Then act from that place. This simple question is often enough to shift you from reacting to leading your own life. Become the woman who chooses herself every day. That means making decisions from self-worth, not from fear. It means saying yes to opportunities that help you grow and no to things that drain you. It means honoring your energy before you give it to others. Choosing yourself is not selfish. It is the only foundation for real love. Love without self-respect becomes dependency. Self-respect without love becomes isolation. Together, they create a relationship where both are free and yet find each other. When you live this way, your worth becomes visible without words. People feel it in your posture, in your tone, in your priorities. This radiance remains long after conversations fade. He does not remember every sentence you said, but the way you carried yourself, the dignity with which you held your space. That is what remains indelible. But the crucial thing is, you don't do all this to get him. You do it to become the fullest version of yourself. Whether he keeps up or not, you've already won. You've reclaimed your time, your energy, and your self-respect. You're building a life that is rich and meaningful in itself. Any partner who comes along is a complement, not a savior. That frees you. You stop hoping. I hope he chooses me, and start asking, does this situation really suit me? Your energy becomes both soft and strong, warm and confident. People feel irresistibly drawn to it because it offers both safety and challenge at the same time. And finally, self-confidence is not a goal that you reach once and keep forever. It is a daily practice. Some days you will doubt, give in, or slip back into old patterns. That is normal. What matters is that you always return to yourself. Every decision in your own favor strengthens the muscle of self-respect until it becomes second nature. This way, you don't just create the conditions for a man to grow, but also for your own further development. You become someone whose love is a gift, not a plea, whose presence is an invitation, not a trap. Someone who, even when he leaves behind the scent of self-worth. If you're tired of begging for love, hit subscribe to SYC Soul and level up now. What if the real fear isn't him leaving, but you're staying stuck in a life that's killing your glow forever? That is the quiet power of a woman who knows she is rare, who knows she is whole, who knows she is enough. They feel the difference between someone who performs for their approval and a woman who already plays the leading role in her own life. They feel the risk of losing you, not because you play games, but because you truly live. And it is precisely this risk that creates the urgency to rise to your level. But the key is you don't wait for him to grow. You continue on your path no matter what he does. This forward movement is your greatest strength. It keeps your energy fresh, your mystery alive, and your self-respect untouchable. A life that constantly unfolds has a magnetic effect. It invites the right ones and automatically filters out the wrong ones. Think of your life like a river. When it stands still, people think they can wade in and out without consequences. When it flows, it carries its own power, washes away burdens, and attracts only those ready to flow with it. That's exactly how your energy becomes when you integrate everything. Another aspect of integration is emotional consistency. Those who give in and chase often experience extreme mood swings, euphoria with attention, despair with distance. Integration stabilizes you. Your feelings depend less on the behavior of others. You develop a calm baseline of self-acceptance. Others feel this calm. They don't sense neediness, but serene attraction. Integration also shows in your intimacy. When you choose yourself, you don't give away your heart and body completely right away. You let closeness grow slowly. You create a rhythm of approach and space like the breathing of desire. Many fear this space, but it strengthens the bond. It gives both time to miss each other, to reflect, and to return renewed. Honesty is also part of it, especially with yourself. You cannot build a life of self-respect on self-deception. If deep down you know that something is not good for you, neither mystery nor confidence will help. Choosing yourself sometimes means letting go. Over time, you'll notice that those who approach you change. Some are fascinated, but intimidated. Some test your boundaries. Others grow beyond themselves. All of it is feedback. You are no longer living on autopilot. You are consciously shaping your life. There is also a spiritual dimension. When you choose yourself, you send a signal to life. I am ready for more. New opportunities, friendships, and love stories find you. Not because you are searching, but because with your energy, you attract what fits. A key is self-celebration. Many women wait for recognition from the outside. Integration turns that around. You affirm yourself first. You celebrate small victories. The moment you didn't text in panic, the evening you kept your plans, the moment you calmly voiced a boundary. Every step is a building block in the foundation of your new life. And yes, you will stumble. You will sometimes doubt or give too much. That is normal. Self-confidence is not perfection, but resilience. Every time you return to yourself, you strengthen your inner core. This way you create paradoxical freedom. You no longer need to control outcomes. You can relax and trust that the right ones will see and appreciate you. Your body, your voice, your gaze change. You radiate the quiet certainty of a woman who has nothing to prove. At this point, the question, will he choose me, dissolves. It is replaced by, is it mutual? Does it serve my growth? Does it bring joy? You no longer wait for a verdict. You co-create. This is where your attractiveness reaches its peak. Because when you're not trying to be chosen, your essence shines naturally. You laugh more freely. You speak more honestly. You give love more generously. And this kind of attraction is not fleeting, but deep, mutual, and strong. And if he doesn't grow, then you lose nothing. You remain whole, radiant, and free. You lead a life that is bigger than any single relationship. That is the quiet power of a woman who chooses herself and thus becomes unforgettable. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, SYC Soul. Like, hit notification bell, don't miss upcoming videos. Share this video who needs it. Full script reloaded, clean, no mess. All fire.